800-943-2757.
Hey, welcome back. You're listening to Get Down to Business. I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Get Down to Business is powered by Tandem HR, your solutions center. You can find them at tandemhr.com or give them a call at 630-928-0510, 630-928-0510. Thrilled to be joined by Dave Yonkman, a public relations expert, consultant, and certainly a guy that that can share a lot of advice about how business owners can kick off 2016 with a strategy and a plan. Dave, welcome to the program.
Hey, great to join you tonight on this beautiful Sunday evening, Shalom. Thanks for having me.
You bet, absolutely. Well, there's so much competition for the airwaves. We have sports, which probably the majority of people will be watching or listening, and then of course there's the Democratic debate, which probably very few people will be watching or listening to. So it's entertaining for everybody. Everybody has something tonight. Dave, you have served as Director of Communications for two chairmen of the U.S. House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. You have served as a public relations consultant, placed people on all of the major networks. Dave, how can the business owners listening to this program really set themselves up for success in branding and creating a public relations strategy for 2016?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing that your listeners will want to do, and the entrepreneurs that listen to your show will want to do, is write down a long-term plan for the year. They have a long-term plan for their business as far as any product launches, any special news, any special events that their organization will be doing, but really just to map out what's going to happen during the year and what they want to achieve. And so what I'm doing, the way I'm starting out my year, is I am going through my client list and going through and creating plans for them for the year. And the thing I'm working on now, just to provide a real-world example, is I have a client with a book coming out on May 3rd that's going to be, and we're really excited about it, but, when you look at a lot of these book launches, and a lot of what you'll see is that you think that the major announcement is when the book actually hits the shelves, but it's not. We're back here in January already plotting for the next 15-week strategy until the book rolls out. So I have a plan for every single day leading up till then.
Interesting.
As far as the articles we could. I'm sorry, what was that?
No, it's interesting. There's two things I want to touch on. Having the strategy, things don't happen on their own. You can't just wing it, and you can't just play it by ear, can you, Dave?
No, absolutely not. Everything has to be well conceived and well planned beforehand. And so, when you're leading up to a campaign like this, you want to map out every day where you have a tweet about some interesting thing in the news that relates to the book. You want to have articles coming out, press releases, engaging the audience through Twitter, social media. And when you get to that point, when you have a product launch or a big deal like this, that the press release on the day it launches ought to be an afterthought. Everybody knows all about it. And the best thing about this type of strategy is that you get your organization's name out there. You're creating an identity out there, and the best thing I could offer is to get a blog out there to establish themselves as thought leaders. Because the major problem with public relations is that, and the major opportunity, I should say, of public relations is that if you don't get out there and identify yourself first, you're going to have people doing it for you, and you might not like those results.
So I want to stay on that subject for a second. So often when I introduce myself and I talk about being on the radio and on both sides of the microphone, both hosting Get Down to Business, but also being a frequent subject matter expert on the issues of small business and entrepreneurship, people say, "Oh, you want to be in the news?" And a lot of people don't get it. They're scared. They're actually scared of being covered. But Dave, I think what you're telling our listeners is that if you have a strategy, you can actually control the message of whether it's a book launch or, for many professionals that are out there, if you are starting up a company or starting up a local small business, get out there and have a proactive message so you attract attention, and attention brings customers, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely the best way to do it. If you're not out there promoting yourself, no one's going to do it for you, and that's the best way to build up your client base, your marketing efforts. You want to get your name out there in the most positive light possible, and that's the great part of PR is that there are so many great stories to tell that like I said, if you're not out there sharing them, then how is anyone else going to know about them?
So one thing that I've seen a lot of, and I get this all the time, is while being on social media, I get a number of folks that are constantly pitching me on Twitter, and they're tagging me and they're saying, "Hey, did you hear about my ... Do you think that
Right.
is an effective strategy for a business owner to sort of reach out aggressively to as many people as possible on social media?
Absolutely, 100%.
Fantastic.
Especially when you're talking to, folks behind the microphone like yourself. You want to establish a relationship, build that rapport, and when something interesting comes up, you want to be the first person that you're reaching out to get them on the air to promote what they're doing.
So, Dave Yonkman, you're a few tips I learned from you today. Have a strategy. Don't wing it. Don't play it by ear. Have a strategy. Be proactive. Think ahead. Get out there. Get your message out there. Control the message and embrace some of the tools that are out there, like social media, like Facebook, like Twitter, that can help you drive that message beyond just the press releases. And press releases, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave for another segment because we are running out of time. But Dave, you've got a lot of advice. I'd love to make sure our listeners can find you on the web and ask you their questions about how to create that strategy. Dave, how can people get a hold of you?
I can be reached 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at dave@dys.media. The website is dys.media. My Twitter handle is @DavidJohnson. And I'd love to hear from anybody that is looking for some information and how I can help them.
Dave Yonkman has been there, has done that, and creating the strategies and the plan for many authors, and certainly can provide more advice for business owners as well. After the break, I'm going to be sharing some tips, organizational skills for the workplace in 2016. You don't want to miss it. You're listening to Get Down to Business Chicago. Don't touch that dial.
Hi there.